Everybody, I do understand post-lunch sessions are a little difficult. Especially if you're hailing from Bengal, it becomes even more difficult. Oh, finally the smiles. So it is not going to be that difficult now. All right, so keeping the jokes aside, let us begin with the first and probably the only panel discussion we have post-lunch. And this is going to be very, very interesting because this panel shall be deliberating on governing AI innovations, balancing ethics and compliance. And for this, ladies and gentlemen, we have a very, very esteemed panel and of course, the moderator as well. I would request all of you, I do understand you're going to be a little lethargic over here, but I do understand that, but I'm still going to request you to kindly put up your hands together a little warmly when we shall be welcoming each panelist and a moderator right here on the stage. And I promise you one thing, that this engaging session will definitely make the lethargy literally fly away. So please help me welcome our first panelist for this particular session. Put your hands together for Vaidyanathan Swaminathan, the co-founder, Tech Risk Solutions Private Limited. Thank you, sir, for joining. Kindly be seated. Moving ahead, please help me welcome Mr. Gaurav Minda, the CISO, NSE, Indices and Data. Thank you, sir. Please also help me welcome the chairman of INFOSEC Foundation, Mr. Shushovan Mukherjee. Thank you, sir, for joining. We are still awaiting our next panelist for this session, Dr. Mukesh Mehta, the CTO and CISO of Investec India. He shall be here with us shortly. And please help me welcome our moderator for this session, the CIO and CISO of Shree Financials, Mr. Shashank Jain. Can I have a round of applause as I welcome him? Thank you, sir. Mr. Jain, I would request you to kindly take the session forward from here. Thank you.
So, good afternoon, everyone. It is my pleasure and welcome you to this crucial discussion on governing AI innovation, balancing and ethics and compliance. This subject is very near to my heart and it is very interesting subject nowadays. As artificial intelligence continues to reshape industries and redefine the boundaries of innovation, it is also introduced complex challenges. The dual promise of AI delivering transformative efficiencies while demanding responsible governance places CISO at the heart of conversation. Today, we navigate an era where AI-driven technologies must not only comply with regulatory frameworks, but also adhere to ethical principles and reflect social values. The stakes are very high. Data privacy, algorithm, transparency, and accountability. These are some just crucial and critical issues on the table. How the leaders ensure that AI initiatives are not only compliant, but also aligned with the ethical standards. And how do we maintain trust with stakeholders while leveraging and transformative potential of AI? To explore these questions, I thrilled to introduce our extreme panel of CISOs. Each of them are bringing a wealth of experience in managing an intersection of technology, governance, and innovation. Together, they will share their insights on creating a governance framework and uphold ethics without shifting progress. Let's dive into this engaging discussion, and I encourage all of you to share your questions and thoughts as we unpack this vital topic. Let's begin by understanding the panelists' perspectives on evolving AI landscape and governance challenges. So may I request each panelist to introduce yourself?
Hello. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Vaidyanathan. I am one of the co-founders of TechRich Solutions Private Limited. Our company purely focuses on the system integration, which is server storage, backup recovery, and disaster recovery. And now we are working on cloud, on Microsoft Cloud and other multi-cloud kind of an environment, with huge amount of focus on security, huge amount of focus on infrastructure, and definitely on artificial intelligence. We use some of the tools internally, and with the way everybody is talking about AI, so we have a lot of energy and working on that area of work. So I've been in the industry for about 28 years now, and being in the solutioning role, it's been about 15, 16 years. So thank you everyone. I hope we have an engaging session today with questions from sir, and let's hope how we take it forward. Thank you.
Yeah, good afternoon everyone. Myself Gautam Midha. I am CISO at NSE Indices and Data. And NSE you all know, so we take care of the cybersecurity part in this challenging time. So we will be happy to share our inputs as well as your thoughts and all around the cybersecurity space with my fellow panelists and sessions. Thank you.
So, thank you ABB for inviting us. Myself Shushobhan Mukherjee. So, I am actually having dual hats. So, on the other hand, I am heading the InfoSec Foundation, which is a non-profit community where we try to bring all the stakeholders together for cybersecurity, technology, AI and all, so that the awareness, the handshaking happens much more. And on the other hand, I run a company called Prime InfoServe, which is certain empaneled auditor, where we do various kind of audits, compliances and all. So today's topic is very pertinent topic, so let us deliberate it together.
Am I audible now? Okay. So Gaurav, like you comes from the financial sector. So what are the key cyber security challenges do you encounter when integrating AI into your system? And next is, how do you ensure these systems remain secure while being innovative and compliant?
Okay. Thanks for the question. So first of all, I think we all agree that cybersecurity is the biggest concern nowadays for any kind of organization, irrespective of its nature of business. And no doubt BFSI is being heavily regulated. It has more concerns than probably other sectors. But overall, cybersecurity, day to day, their threats and all that are getting multifold, not only in our personal life, corporate life, and all kind of products and solutions offered by the various enterprises. So that is one thing. Secondly, when we talk about the challenges and adoption of AI in this space, so first of all, I believe that for any organization, any typical organization nowadays, probably there are at least 10 to 15 tools at least which are sitting in their ecosystem in order to protect their, that organization's products and services from any kind of possible cyber attack. And companies which are more regulated like ours kind of company, we have probably more than 40 tools which are sitting in our ecosystem. And now when we talk about the challenges, so there are so many tools which are required to keep your critical infrastructure protected, one thing. Then most of the time we have lots of data which sometimes sitting in the silos. So what I believe that still there is lack of unified visibility across our ecosystem, where we can see like a unified kind of dashboard where all data is coming, though it is coming in bits and bytes obviously from so many places, but still it is not totally integrated where we can see that everything is in sync. So, and there are challenges in that. Why it is, despite having a large set of tools or large set of human resources, there's so much of data, so much of alerts, so much of, you talk about SIEM, if we say SIEM, n number of alerts are coming. Whatever fine tuning we do, still there will be many false positives, and it is not humanly possible to look into each and every aspect and take corrective action. So that's how AI come into the picture. Like AI is something going to be disruptive. So many technologies have come in the past as well. AI is being adopted in the organization. The only thing what I can see and what I believe that probably it is something, it is going to stay in one or other form, and depending on the nature of the organization, it has to be, implement in the various solutions. Like cybersecurity nowadays, if you talk about, there are many tools already which are AI enabled in some other ways. And it is particularly like areas like VAPT or incident handling and all that, where it can help largely. And probably what I see that tasks which are L1 kind of task, that can be easily replaced by this technology. Still we need specialized people and L3 or maybe super specialized people to look into the aspects. AI is not going to replace the human, our skills, but definitely probably it is going to provide us the bandwidth where we can use our resources in more productive way in some other specialized area other than L1 kind of task. So in these areas, AI can definitely is going to make a difference. And already we have so many tools which are AI enabled, which is doing like auto detection and auto response in VA kind of things, in incident handling and all that. And subsequently, it is going to be part of each and every product line across cybersecurity domain. Cybersecurity is going to be one of the largest consumer of the AI. That's what I believe. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gaurav, for your insight. Now I come to Mr. Vaidyanathan. He is the co-founder of TechRich Solutions. So, Mr. Swaminathan, how do you approach the balance between driving AI innovation and ensuring that ethical considerations are not compromised? Can you share some example, framework or practices that you are following to maintain the balance?
Okay. So, within TechRich, we have two facets of using AI. One is for our internal consumption, wherein me and my technical team, my administration team, accounts, and the different departments. So we use generative AI quite a lot within our systems internally. And then we have to manage a lot of customer infrastructure. And these customer infrastructure, I mean, it is across multiple customers across the country. Now what happens is, since we are handling those data for our for support purposes, it becomes very pertinent that the data is handled in a proper way, in a manner where it is properly classified and handled in an effective way. So AI plays a very important role in both the facets. So first, let me just talk about how do we use it internally. Now, we being a Microsoft heavy usage customer, I mean internally I'm saying, so we have actually adapted ourselves to a specific ecosystem which is based out of Microsoft, wherein we use Copilot as a Gen AI tool very much internally. So it's not just for internally, even for others also, I would encourage them to use the Copilot commercial data protection, which is basically helps us use AI in a very secure manner, wherein any data that is input into the system, it's not used for training or development purposes actually. So it's there in a secure cloud, which is what we use internally for analyzing our data. Now, more importantly, technologies like Purview, which is a part of Microsoft AI data security component, which is again a part of DPDP and all that. So usage of that, what happens is that data is not available to everyone. So it's kind of classified and protected. So, and that when integrated along with the Microsoft Active Directory or the Azure AD, which is inherent, I mean, that's the basic core component of any infrastructure security. So that when tied to this, what happens is, anybody wanting to use an AI tool, whatever he or she is trying to access the data, it goes through those security parameters, and whatever is available to them is actually gives an output based on that. So that's one way wherein the customer data as well as our internal data is protected. So this is how we use it internally. Now, when it comes to external usage in terms of our customers, what happens is that in today's world, cybersecurity is of huge importance. Like what Sir said, the speed at which we need to interprets attacks or mitigate attacks and all that is of prima facie importance. So in those kind of areas, using AI is very important, because what happens is the speed at which and from multiple corners through which data is getting attacked or whatever it is. I mean, using a tool, an AI tool actually helps mitigate that risk in terms of the spread of the issue, and helps us manage the environment in an effective way. So we use AI-based security tools, both based out of Microsoft and outside Microsoft, in terms of protecting our customer environment also. Now, when it comes to this ethical usage of data, what happens is that certain types of data, I mean, like what happens is customers, you know, they put in a lot of filters in terms of asking too many questions to the AI tool to come out with responses. So we normally speak with our customers when they want to use AI internally. We speak with our customers to put in practices, frameworks in place wherein filters are kind of disabled, you know. So that way, maintaining the ethical manner in which AI is consumed becomes very much easy, actually.
As you rightly said, security of data using AI is most important, internally or external users. Thank you, Mr. Vednathan. Mr. Sushovan, you comes from you are a chairman of INFOSEC Foundation. So how do you see the role of leadership evolving in ensuring ethical and compliant all AI innovations? What kind of steps can you industry leader take to establish a culture of responsible AI uses within your organizations?
Thank you. Thank you for the question. It's a very interesting question. So before I answer that, so I'll try to set the context right. So many of you in the audience, what do you think when AI was first coined down? There is no prize, but any one of you can tell me when AI was first came into the light? Anyone? Anyone from the audience? So you are saying ChatGPT in 2018, that is the first time it has happened? So no. So it was first coined down in 1956 by John McCarthy. So fundamentally the point I will start upon, so every time in our technology evolution, we have seen we are into the hype cycle. So once it is cloud, once it is social, once it is mobility, once it is IoT, once it is blockchain, always we are carried away about the technology. Like last 3 days in every session we are talking about AI. So like this ABP INFOCOM, this is in the 23rd year. It has started in 2002. I was just scribbling through internet. So 2022 there are few multiple interesting incidents. LinkedIn first came into the light. Google was gaining attention. And rather before that, 2 years back, down the line means in 2000, I was working in a telecom company in KOLKATA. And there was one of the telecom in ISP in KOLKATA. They have introduced first time internet free with the ad bar. So but that company doesn't exist. So the fundamental context is AI will be there, AI is useful for us, but how we are adopting, we are not actually missing out the consequences. Because yesterday Manojji was saying, every organization, every startup, every product, everyone is adopting AI, but we do not know what is the use cases. So from this point, leadership point comes very important. Because many of you, if you understand about the management standards, about 27,000 and other, where we are saying it is not a bottom-up approach, it is a top-down approach. So AI usage should be a boardroom's issue. It is a leadership should be inclusive. There should be a committee where we should decide the trust principle, where we should decide the accountability, we should have the transparency. Then only adoption of AI will be useful. Because what we are missing out is, so we are thinking every small little application to our larger deployment, from small Canva kind of application to even SIMSOR kind of application, everywhere AI is plugged in. So we are missing out. Moment AI is easing out my application or my day-to-day job, it is also learning so many things. So where is those data disclosures? What all informations it is learning? What all telemetry data it is capturing and reciting there? How it is being reused? What are the principles? That is not known. So it is not that something is available, we should be use it as and when, wherever required. The leadership responsibility is to define those roadmap and define the proper use cases wherever it is required and how it is being used. Once it is decided and drafted, then only it should be used properly so that we can actually get the benefits.
Very insightful information, Mr. Mukherjee. Like, I was also not aware AI was invented in 50s, but today's lot of applications are available to use AI in a more effective manner. So, Gaurav,
Just a thing, just a couple of lines connecting on the dots what he is saying.
definitely.
So nowadays, if you see, whenever any trend comes, either it was cloud in the past or cybersecurity nowadays, every third or fourth vendor is a security vendor who used to be something else, but now they claim to be the cybersecurity vendor and they claim to be their product to be the best out of the world. That is one thing. Secondly, everybody is using this buzzword AI, either it is there or not there. Not only technology product, even our day-to-day life, I was surprised, like one day somebody was talking for some household thing. And he said that this is AI enabled. I asked him what is AI enablement in this, he was not able to respond. So he rightly said that we can't see that X person is, X company is doing, we have to do in the same way. We have to see our industry requirement and accordingly our use cases, and then we have to have the right roadmap, including the inclusion of the leadership at policy level, committees and all that. I think they are already there in our company. We have AI adoption committee, like any kind of change, any AI enabled that goes through a proper process. But those maturity has to come before adopting just blindly any AI product. So having said that, I need to take excuse from my panelists and all of you because I have a flight. So thank you so much, Shashankji and everybody. I will take leave. Yeah, I have to take leave. I have to go airport actually.
Okay, please have a big applause to Mr. Gaurav. Thank you, Gaurav. Is to catch the flight actually. So, Mr. Vaidyanathan, a question for you. What are the key challenges in AI governance in addressing the issues like algorithm bias and maintaining the stakeholder trust? Because trust is most important thing in AI. And how does your organization mitigate bias and its AI model? And what measures do you take to build transparency and accountability in your AI systems?
A very good question actually, because AI, as you know, rightly pointed out by Shushoban sir, it has been there for a pretty long time. But the way we have been looking at AI in the past 3-4 years has changed drastically. You know, with Gen AI, with ChatGPT coming up like a big boom. So things have drastically changed, and now for the past whatever technology sessions we are having, it's all, the discussion is mostly around AI. If or not, I mean, there's at least some session which is there on AI, right? Now, AI governance and how we, manage the risks around it, right? That's the question. This actually reminds me of my, niece and nephews, which are around the age bracket of 4 to 12, the kids around the age of 4 to 12. One of my niece who's about 4.5 years old, she picks up stuff so fast. I mean, we don't have to teach them nowadays. The kids nowadays, we do not have to teach them, and they pick up things just by looking at it, And that's where parenting becomes paramount importance actually. I mean, how we teach them to do the good things, how we teach them to adopt the good things, and what they should be doing, what they should not be doing. So that becomes of paramount importance, So this AI also has something similar to that. I mean, we definitely, many of my customers, they want to deploy AI, or some of them have actually deployed AI. Now, during the deployment of AI, they are actually looking at the results what they want. But if for them to have a proper result out of it, wherein they can actually take decisions for the business effect, what becomes important is the governance component becomes very much important when you have a pretty good framework in place. So to have a good framework in place, what starts off is with transparency is one of the important pillars of setting up an AI governance actually. So transparency means like the area from where we are getting the codes, the source code, how it's being developed, what's the source of the data, the authenticity of the data. These things have to be transparent. So basically the team which is building the AI app or the tool, whatever it is, they need to be transparent from where the data is being picked up. That's the first level of component. Second is when it comes to ethics or bias, because one of the organizations, they wanted to recruit about 1,000 people. Now, and that too also within a very short span of time. They got about 10,000 CVs, the way in which the job market is today, they got about 10,000 CVs which need to be analyzed. Now, while doing a manual analysis, they had this bias of 60% kind of a male and 40% kind of a female kind of a candidate which they were picking up. Now, this bias, when it goes into the system, the results are not really proper. It gives out a result which is improper, and that creates a lot of issues in the decision making. This happens even when, when we are trying to differentiate it by caste or religion and stuff like that. So it's of paramount importance that when we are actually setting up this tool, these kind of bias are taken into account, which means we need to have those frameworks and rules set up, the policies set up, which actually helps take these things out of the equation. Most importantly, when this tool is developed, there has to be a constant improvement put in place, which actually monitors that this is not accounted for. So even though you have a tool which actually gives you an output, there has to be a human intervention which actually ensures that these things are not happening, which is constantly monitored. So that's the second point of it. Third is there has to be a security audit in place in consultation with the legal team, in consultation with the compliance team, because a tool which is made regionally is not how things are happening today. So a tool that is being made, an AI tool, it's either used nationally or internationally actually. So when in this kind of a scenario, the compliance regulation in different locations differ. Like we have GDPR here, we have HIPAA somewhere, we have SOC somewhere. So I think I can put in more light into the things. So basically over here what happens is that we need to have a good constant interaction with the legal and compliance team, which can actually identify as to how we should be going ahead with the legalities of the tool. Now, from our perspective, what we tell customers who want to develop projects on AI, using Microsoft, because we are a Microsoft partner also. So we actually normally we use tools based out of that. So we help customers there's a toolkit which is available on GitHub also. People who are interested can look into it. Responsible AI toolkit is available, which actually has got all these steps in terms of setting up a governance policy in place, in terms of putting a proper ethics in place, in terms of the legalities, the compliances, all that is available within the toolkit, which can be downloaded at no cost, and that can be used to set up the policies and frameworks to build a good AI tool. So building this, any AI tool within the organization takes a lot of time. So first of all, the time should be spent on setting up the policies and frameworks, and then the development process should go on, which actually helps in the business in the long run. So that's how it is actually.
Absolutely, Mr. Vaidyanathan. Thank you. Mr. Mukherjee, what are your views how the organization can align universal standards of AI ethics and compliances, especially when you diverse regulatory landscape? What are the roles does InfoSec Foundation play in advocating for these standards across industries?
Yeah, is it audible? Yes. So once this panel started, the lady rightfully introduced, this is the only panel who is talking about AI related risk and trying to create some balance among it. So nothing to be scary actually. So there are around 4 to 6 different guidelines which is already evolving. Like there is already OECD kind of AI practices which is already being adopted in 2019 onward, which is 50 odd nations are already following. So like it is having the way we do for 27001 or maybe 27701, GDPR, HIPAA and all. So it is also having trust principle defined, and rather it is talking about sustainability. It is talking about human angle towards AI. So we are trying to generally using those frameworks, we are trying to say like the artificial intelligence is here to elevate human intelligence, not to replace it. So there will be activities, there will be monotonous activities which if human doesn't perform, AI performs it, their performance, their effectibility will enhance. So how human angle can be enforced along with AI, that is being already drafted in these principles. So apart from this framework, there is a UNESCO's ethics policy is already being drafted. There is a EU AI Act is being enforced from next year onwards. On top of that, there is a standard also been drafted, that is ISO 42000. So that is talking about AI. Not only that, many of us already know about NIST kind of framework. So NIST is also defining AI as a risk-based framework. They have also defined the guidelines. On top of that, OWSP recently, like last week only, they have also defined the top 10 kind of guidelines for adopting AI. So fundamentally nothing to be scary. So it will gradually evolve. So fundamentally there has to be a regulation and there has to be a governance on the adoption. The moment we gradually, all the organizations try to adopt these compliances, so our life towards AI will be much more easy.
Thank you, Mr. Mukherjee. My last question is, although it was not discussed, it is related to DPDP. It is very close, and I think everyone is facing DPDP. Already notified last year, August last year. So, Mr. Vaidyanathan, how do you handle DPDP in India to help your customer? It is not only like compliances or data security, data regulatory, but other than it's a, I think it's a reputation issue also. If anything goes wrong, then it's a big reputation loss. So how do you suggest your customers to handle DPDP and take care of your data security?
So it's a very good question. It's a very good question. In fact, we had a session around this quite some time back, I mean about last year. So DPDP being very new, and so there are a lot of confusion and complexities around how it's getting implemented and what do we do with the data. So with DPDP what is happening is that, but the first and foremost important thing is, within the organization we normally tend to take data very casually. Even though data is of prime importance, the importance is mostly placed on ERP database or the central data which has got of utmost financial value to the organization, right? Apart from that, rest of the data components that are there, we really do not give much of importance to it. Now, it could be in various form, residing in multiple machines across the organization. Now, imagine an organization which is having about, say, 100 users for that matter. It's a very small sized organization I'm talking about. The higher the size, the complexities are more. Now, even in a 100 user kind of an organization wherein you have got financial data which is residing on accounts, taxation, audit in different sets of departments like this. You got sales information residing within the sales team's machines. You got HR information which is residing in HR machines. So, a lot of unstructured data, I mean like files, they are all residing locally.
Right.
So now these data, if there is a data breach because of some less security measures that has been implemented by any organization, the penalties are pretty heavy,
Absolutely.
If I am not wrong, it starts from about some 10,000 and goes to about some 250 crores.
Yeah, it's 250 crore highest.
Yeah. So what happens is this data needs to be managed in a very crucial way to reduce the data breach. Now, the tools that we use or we propose to our customers for effectively managing this, or which can actually help them being compliant to a certain extent with DPDP. Definitely, the legal and compliance team has to play a very important role in this. Beyond this, what we do is basically we use a tool which is Purview, which helps in doing data classification. So, is it confidential? It's important. It's not so confidential. So, first of all, we need to have a mechanism by which we can classify the data across machines. It could be connected onto the local network. It could be connected across remote networks. So there has to be a mechanism, even if a guy who is suppose sitting in an island who is connected onto the internet with his laptop, which is not connected onto the core Active Directory kind of a scenario, we should also be able to classify the data on that particular machine, right? So we use tools like Purview to actually classify these kind of documents, Purview and Priva to classify these kind of documents. Now, once you have the classification set in place, then what happens is if suppose a user leaves the organizations, assuming a guy who's been there in the organization for about 5 or 10 years, he leaves the organization, he has got the rights to tell the organization to remove data pertaining to him or her, unless something which is business critical, that data needs to be removed. That's how it is today. So the organization, then it comes on to the security team or the IT team to actually figure out what data is in what machine, and that needs to be wiped out, right? So tools like Purview and Priva actually helps deliver this, wherein the data classification is maintained, the security parameters. So again, once we do this, the tools that we use, I mean AI tools and all that, it actually accesses information based on these kind of classifications to come out with different reports and analysis, analytics and all that. So when you have deployed these tools in a proper way, if suppose somebody moves out of the organization, then these can be put into action to remove data which is pertaining to that particular individual from any PC, any machine across the organization. So this is one of the methodologies in which companies can actually secure the data. This is as far as the classification and all this is concerned. Then again, when it comes to security, definitely you got a lot of security tools. I mean, be it your vulnerability management tools and risk management tools, which actually help fixing in other leakages that are there in the system. So everything has to go hand in hand to actually get the complete output actually.
Absolutely, Mr. Vaidyanathan. Mr. Mukherjee, what are your thought process on DPDP in securing data in your organization?
Right. So thank you. So as Mr. Vaidyanathan said about data classification, so many of us actually do not know what is the purpose of data, what is the context of the data. So many of the time many of us deploy DLP and we keep on saying DLPs are failing because data is not properly classified. Because we do not know what is the purpose of this data and for what purpose it can be used. So not only DPDP, GDPR, or now today only I was working with a Oman data law as a PDP. So lot of data privacy standards across the globe was available. So from that DPDP is defined little differently what they have told about data fiduciaries. So it is talking about child data also. It is talking about multiple geographical data also. So fundamentally it is contextually is well defined, but as you can understand, this is a law, there is a penalty, but on the other hand there is no certification also. So complying with a law is always very difficult, because that's why much more awareness inside the organization is required. And on top of that, many of the organizations who are already having 27001, so if they also can adopt 27701, which is like a PIMS, which is on the data privacy guidelines also, so DPDP or GDPR kind of journey will be much more helpful, because in the certification you will get a chance, if there is a minor non-compliance or observation or something, you will get chance to certification, but for law there will be no. So from that point of view, so if we handle those three things together, it will be much more easy.
Thank you, Mr. Mukherjee. If you allow me, I can take one question because time is already over. I can open the floor only for one question. Anyone?
So there are no queries. So
I think there is no.
So then, as every year I do, if Rofi doesn't become angry, so today morning when Shashank was doing the session, I have written a small poem in Bengali on AI. So definitely they will not understand, so I will translate it later. So I have written in the morning, শনিবারের স্নিগ্ধ দুপুর এআই জুড়ে টাপুর টুপুর সওয়াল জবাব তরজা লড়াই তপ্ত আছে ফুটছে কড়াই আশঙ্কাতে দিন প্রতিদিন এআই যদি লাগামবিহীন রক্ষীবিহীন তথ্য বহুল সামান্য ভুল চোকায় মাসুল কি হয় ভাবনা ঘিরে ইনফোকমের সভার ভিড়ে শৃঙ্খলা থাক দিনের শেষে প্রযুক্তি নয় সর্বনেশে ধন্যবাদ থ্যাংক ইউ
Thank you, Mr. Mukherjee. Thank you, Mr. Vaidyanathan, for this esteemed plenum. Thank you.
স্যার এটা অপূর্ব ছিল, কিন্তু একটু জোরে হাততালি সবাই মিলে দিলে বেশ মন্দ হতো না, তাই না? Thank you so much. I would request kindly stay back for a little while longer. May I please now invite our Vice President of Production and Engineering, Mr. Shomnath Guha, back on stage to felicitate our panelist and our moderator for this session. And ladies and gentlemen, please do not leave, hold back, because we have the most interesting part of the day coming over. For our moderator, Mr. Shashank Jain here. For Mr. Vaidyanathan Swaminathan. And of course, Mr. Shushovan Mukherjee. Thank you so much.